Hey guys! So a couple of weeks ago I posed a question to you on my Facebook page. I asked you, were there any makeup mistakes that you consistently make, or a product that you can't use properly, or just a technique that you can't seem to perfect? And I got absolutely heaps of comments back from you, and surprisingly this was a comment or a question that came up a lot and also got an awful lot of likes. So it's obviously something that is a problem for a lot of you guys, and I never even would have thought of to cover it in a video, and it is concealing and color correcting. So from your questions, I've seen there's kind of three main areas that people are concerned with, and the first one is picking the correct color for concealing. So whether that's concealing on blemishes or under the eyes, especially under the eyes actually. The second is caking. People are having issues of products looking cakey and dry and not blending properly, especially in the under eye area. And then thirdly, it is creasing. So not getting the concealer to last and it settling into fine lines and stuff like that around the eyes. So I'm going to try my best to address those three issues and hopefully give you some advice on how to better correct and conceal. So first of all, there is the color aspect of it, and I get heaps of questions actually about this. What color concealer to use? Why do I use a different tone concealer to my foundation? Should it be lighter? Should it be darker? First of all, let me say that you need to have two different concealers. You need one for redness and blemishes on your skin if you have a problem with that. If you don't, then you don't need that concealer. And then you need a separate concealer for your under eye area. And the reason you need two is because your under eye area is a totally different color to a blemish or a spot. So you need two different color concealers to counteract the two different colors of blemishes, if that makes sense. So first of all, for a blemish, now I am speaking in generalities here, but generally speaking, blemishes are red, or they have a red tone in them. So you need a color that's going to neutralize the redness as well as cover it up. I am going to consult my trusty color wheel. I have this from working at MAC. I used to carry it in my brush belt. It was such a useful thing to have. I totally recommend downloading one, downloading a picture to your phone or something so you have it there as a reference all the time. So you want to cover red. And what will neutralize red is the color that's opposite it on the color wheel. So when you put colors that are opposite each other on the color wheel, they're called contrasting colors or complementary colors. When you put them on top of each other, they cancel each other out. So what's opposite red? It's green. Now, a lot of people will use green tinted concealers or green tinted primers on their skin, and it does help to neutralize the color of the redness. Now, the problem with green tone concealers is that they take so much of the red out of your skin that they can tend to make that area that you've applied it look really, really grey. So it's very hard to blend in. I'm not a fan. They do work, but I'm not a fan. So what I prefer is kind of the next best thing, and if you look on the color wheel, the next best thing is yellow. So yellow is much easier to work with because it's a color that is kind of more naturally occurring in your skin, so it'll blend into your skin an awful lot easier, and it will still do a great job to neutralize that redness. So that's why a lot of the time you'll see me and many other people here on YouTube using an NC toned concealer by MAC. So NC is the yellow undertoned concealer or foundation from MAC, so that is your best man for neutralizing redness in your skin. Now, everyone's under eye area does tend to have a different color depending on your skin tone, so I can't really say everybody should use this particular color under their eyes because it won't work for everybody. But again, using the color wheel, if you can identify what color on the color wheel is closest to the color under your eye, you'll be able to see what's opposite it and try and get a concealer that uses that color. So for me, my under eye area, I'm kind of around the blue violet here. So opposite that, we're looking at orange, yellow, orange. So I like to use NWs under my eyes because they've got more of a peachy kind of tone rather than a yellow tone. They've got more of a pink red as well as yellow, so they give that kind of peachy salmon color, which is what I need to neutralize those bluey violet tones under my eyes. As for the question of whether it should be lighter or darker than your foundation, I think for the concealer for blemishes, you should try and get it as close to the darkness as your foundation as you can. So it shouldn't be darker, shouldn't be lighter, it should be like a pretty close match because you want it to blend in seamlessly to your foundation. For the under eye area, I like to go a little bit lighter just to brighten up that area. You don't want to go too light, You can match your foundation, but I think it's a personal thing. I just like mine to be a little bit lighter just to brighten up that eye area. All right, so the next problem people have been having is caking, and caking happens when your concealer is too dry. If there isn't enough moisture in the product for it to blend, it'll just start to ball up and it's impossible to blend, and that's when you get that cakiness. So there could be a couple of different reasons that it's too dry. It could be your skin isn't prepped well enough. If you haven't put moisturizer on, you need to start really massaging that moisturizer into your skin so you have a really, really nice canvas for whatever products you're going to be using. If it's an under eye area, making sure you're using eye cream. You can pop on eye cream, let it set, and then use a tissue just to blot away any of the excess oil that might be sitting on the skin so it doesn't make your concealer streaky. But you definitely want to make sure your skin is really well primed. When I worked on makeup counters, I'm telling you, the number one problem people were having with cakiness is just their skin wasn't in great condition. So make sure you're exfoliating to get rid of any of those dry, flaky patches in your skin, and you're taking good care of it and keeping it well moisturized. Another reason is you could just be using the wrong textured foundation for whatever area you're using it in. So if you do suffer from drier skins or you have more mature skins, you want to stay clear of kind of solid cream concealers for the under eye area. More liquidy ones definitely are more forgiving. So something like the MAC Studio Finish Concealer, the one that I use in the little pot, I wouldn't use that on dry skins around the eyes, and I wouldn't use it on mature skins around the eyes because it will look cakey because it's too dry. I would do something more like the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer, which is a liquid. That is an awesome concealer for the under eye area, and that will not cake. It's impossible. It's too liquidy. It won't cake. Or if you do have issues with creasing, the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer is an awesome under eye concealer because that will set. So you have the benefit of a really liquidy formula that's very, very easy to blend and very easy to put on, but then it will set, it will dry, and it won't budge. And then finally, there's creasing under the eyes. And creasing under the eyes is a problem that everybody has, regardless of whether you're like 19 or 90, no matter how many lines you have around your eyes, everybody has trouble with products creasing under there. It's a very warm area. It's not necessarily that it's an oily area for everybody. It's very, very warm. It moves a lot. Like your eyes move all the time. It is very, very difficult to expect a cream product that you're putting around there to stay put. And I think a lot of us expect too much from our makeup sometimes, and really we're expecting miracles. But there are things that you can do to minimize creasing. So first of all is not to put on too much product in the first place. If at all possible, just use very, very light layers of products. If you're using a concealer that's the right color for you and is kind of incorporating some of that color correction into it, then you won't need to put piles of it on because it's neutralizing the color without you having to put absolutely piles of it on. So yes, number one, don't put on too much product. Number two, you could try using eyeshadow primer under your eyes. So it's a product that's designed to keep all of the eyeshadow from not moving on your eyelid. I mean, the eyelid moves so much more than under the eyes. So if there's a product out there that stops stuff from melting and moving on this part of your eye, it's going to work on the under eyes as well. So put a really, really light layer on. Now, the one thing about putting eyeshadow primer on the under eye area is it makes it quite difficult to blend concealer on top of. So it'll probably take a little bit of practice, but I would say give it time. You will be able to get the hang of it. Again, just use a product that's nice and creamy that will blend on top of it because it will stick to the primer. So you'll have a bit of problem working it out. But if you use something that's creamy enough, use your fingers to warm it up so you can really, really dab it in. Take your time. Don't be too rough about it. You can also use a fluffy brush just to, take your time and blend it. But that absolutely works. I do that on a lot of my clients, especially say mothers of the bride on wedding days where you want the makeup to last all day and look absolutely flawless. I do that. It does take a little bit longer to apply. It might not be for every day, but if you have a day where you really, really want it to last, I would recommend doing that. And then finally, I would say you need to set your concealer under the eyes. I know some makeup artists don't like to use powder on the under eye area, but I think you have to. So I find the best way to apply powder to the under eye area without it looking dry and cakey is to take a damp sponge. And my favorite at the moment is the Beauty Blender. So damp, and by damp I mean like you've run it under water, you've saturated it, and then I like to press it into a towel so it's not wet, it's just damp. and use that to apply the powder. So whether it's a loose powder or a pressed powder, I'll just dip it in, take off the excess, and then press it under the eyes. And because it's damp, it's not going to leave that chalky finish to the skin, but it'll really kind of press the powder right into the concealer and take away any of the excess oil and moisture in it. So to summarize, I recommend you get 2 different color concealers, one for your blemishes and one for your under eye area, to find out exactly what kind of colors will work for you. Consult a color wheel. You need to find what your under eye color is on here and see what's opposite it and try to get a concealer with that color. If your concealer is caking, it's probably because either the concealer is too dry or your skin is too dry. So you need to fix either one of those problems in order for it to go on smooth. And if the concealer under your eyes always creases on you, you need to put on less product, use an eyeshadow primer underneath it, and set it with powder. So I hope you found that video useful, guys. If you did, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you've got any more questions about makeup mistakes or stuff that you just can't get the hang of, please leave it in the comments down below and I will try and cover it in a future video. Don't forget to subscribe. I put out videos every Wednesday and Friday. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you very soon. Bye!